Bill, are you trying to be a director?
No, there's no next week. If you were working in there today and you brought your wine, come out.
Yeah, sit on that.
Right.
All right, Gene.
Yeah, that's one good thing about the.
Right, exactly.
Let me go ahead.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Jean Henningsen. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives for TurnAround. And we are really excited to have you join us for week 2 of our 7 Weeks of Giving campaign that we just kicked off last week. The theme this week is highlighting TurnAround's legal services. So for those who don't know, who might be watching at home, TurnAround provides services to victims of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking. We provide services in Baltimore City and Baltimore County, and our campaign is really trying to raise awareness over the next several weeks and raise funds to keep, providing the critical services and expand the services that we provide. So today we have a lot of really amazing guests with us to kick us off, as I said, our Legal Resources Week, and make sure that we're getting this information to our communities. So first up, I'm really pleased to welcome Councilman Julian Jones to this event. The councilman is the chair of the Baltimore County Council and has an extensive background as a career firefighter and as a community leader and champion. So we are really honored to have him here and appreciate all of his support.
Thank you so much for your kind words and your kind introduction. I'm Julian Jones, chairman of the Baltimore County Council, and I just wanted to come out and support TurnAround and all that you do to provide services to women as well as men that are in need. And today, as we come upon the legal week for the 7 weeks, this is legal week. And one of the things I think about legal week, and I think about the service that you provide, and prior to coming here, I had the opportunity to look them up. And one of the things that dawned on me, I was thinking some of the most important protections that we can provide victims, the way you really get the police or the way you get the government involved in providing protections is through the courthouse. In so many cases, you call the police. If it's something immediate, they handle it. But in most cases, they're going to tell you, you need to take some type of legal action. So the services you provide in terms of providing legal assistance, providing whether it be restraining orders or protective orders, or making sure people have the services they need in terms of being able to get the economic justice that they deserve. All of that comes through your legal week. So I just want to thank you so much for all the work you're doing. Thank you so much for having me, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you, and may you continue to do a good service for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. We really couldn't do it without everybody here and those who are watching. Next, I'd like to introduce the state's attorney for Baltimore County, Scott Shelley. We're very pleased that you were also able to join us on this very critical legal week, obviously, that would be of great importance to your office.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. I think this is one of the most important weeks that we are here. As you all know, we very often work in great conjunction together in representing the victims of these horrible crimes. But also the important thing about what you all do is very often the police will be called, and then on a Friday, and then on Monday morning, they call my office and they say, never mind. And the work that you all do to change that never mind, or if it's still never mind, I don't want to go forward with criminal charges, you have so many other legal avenues that you take these victims through, whether it's a protective order or what. If you weren't there helping steer the victim through these very important legal aspects that may have nothing to do with my office and my prosecutors, it's still an important protection that has to be there. And then not only the advice that you give, but the counseling and the assistance that you give these victims will get them ready for coming into my courthouse and handling the criminal case. But even if they don't do a criminal case, it is so important to be able to have those protective orders in place, because when the police get a call that there's a violation of a protective order, that gets their attention and they know what they can do. And if they catch that violation, then respectfully, I don't need the victim. I can do it with other people and not have to put that victim through that very difficult and sorrowful testimony. So thank you for everything you do when we work together, and even if we work separate, your role is incredibly important and keeps a lot of people safe. So thank you so much.
So, as was wisely noted, many survivors do not end up pursuing criminal cases for various reasons, and so we have established other partnerships to help survivors and help our staff kind of navigate what the options are and support them through that process. So one of our longest standing partnerships for many years now has been with Maryland Legal Aid. And so I'd like to bring up Dasha Nicotina, Maryland Legal Aid attorney, to talk a little bit about the work that she does with our clients.
Thank you. My name is Dasha Nikitina, full name Daria. I'm from Russia. I started with Maryland Legal Aid in April this year, so I'm a fairly new attorney. And I love working with TurnAround because when you do public interest work, after you close another case, you feel like you really made a difference in people's life, and you really feel how grateful our clients are. So I deal with family law issues. We deal with divorce cases, custody cases, child support cases, and I also help obtain protective orders. And we have a lot of returning clients who, for example, like help with protective orders, and then they come back to us to file for divorce or custody. So it's really ongoing relationship. I really enjoy working with TurnAround, and thank you for having me here today.
Next, we would like to highlight another partnership. So Jessica Emerson is here from the Human Trafficking Prevention Project at the University of Baltimore School of Law. We also provide services to survivors of human trafficking and have had a long-standing partnership.
Hi. Hi everyone. I just want to thank you to TurnAround for inviting me. Thanks to my co-panelists, if this is indeed a panel. My name is Jessica Emerson, and I am the director of the Human Trafficking Prevention Project, which is a partnership between the University of Baltimore School of Law and Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service, which is the largest provider of pro bono legal services in the state of Maryland. The primary work that we do is criminal record relief, which means that we work with individuals with criminal records and attempt to undo some of the harm that the criminal legal system has done. Now, that might seem slightly ironic standing up here with the lead prosecutor for Baltimore County, but I promise you that the overlap between crime victim and perpetrator is a lot greater than you think. Just to kind of set the stage, 70 million adults have criminal records in the country. Anyone with a criminal record is going to have a harder time getting gainful employment, obtaining housing, accessing loans. They're going to have difficulty in terms of family law cases. And when you talk about that, and the individual that we are talking about is a victim of human trafficking, what all of that does is compound the trauma that that individual has experienced and can lead to that individual struggling to be able to recover from the trauma that they've experienced. Now, a lot of people ask, like, is that really that common? And I can promise you that it is. There was a survey done by the National Survivor Network, a national network of survivors of both sex and labor trafficking, that surveyed criminal legal involvement among their participants. And the numbers were truly staggering. They found that 91% of survivors had criminal records. 91%. That is truly incredible. Of those individuals, 40% had criminal records from the time that they were minors. Over 50% found that, or reported that every single arrest on their criminal record was directly linked with their trafficking experience. And so Turnaround can do all of the amazing counseling and supportive work that it can. But if individuals who are survivors of trafficking are walking out with really significant criminal records, they're going to have difficulty essentially surviving and also recovering from the trauma that they've experienced. So the Human Trafficking Prevention Project was founded to work with these individuals. We use all of the Maryland law that we can to, again, mitigate the harm that the criminal legal system has done, and also to educate victim service providers to remember that just because the individual that you're working with has been identified as a criminal victim or a victim of crime doesn't mean that they also have entangled with the criminal legal system on the other side, and encouraging folks to refer to us to help with that. And Turnaround has done a great job in supporting our work, both legislatively and just personally, and I just want to thank you all for inviting me, and happy to answer any questions when we wrap up.
And just so you all know, we do get along.
We do.
We get along very well.
Well, and I mean, that's part of the partnership, right? It's the education process on both of our sides.
Correct.
And so now when I have a survivor in the Baltimore County area, I know that I can go to the state's attorney and explain this individual, the circumstances of this individual's criminalization, and we can work to try to make that survivor whole again.
I've learned a lot.
That's great.
That's part of what we do. We work with partners. We all learn and share with each other. The next partnership that I'd like to highlight, actually our newest partnership with the Maryland Crime Victims Resource Center. The Director of Legal Services, Pauline Mandel, is here to say a little bit about what they do and how we'll be working together.
Good evening. It's nice to be here. It's nice to meet all of you. Actually, we have been working with Turnaround for many, many years in terms of our agency works with people who are victims of crime. So we actually work in the criminal system. We assist victims who are victims by legal representation, by support services, criminal injuries compensation, and other parts of that. We have attorneys statewide. We're a statewide organization. We have 15 attorneys throughout the state in different jurisdictions who can assist victims. So if you have victims who want to file criminal charges, we have an attorney who can go with them to the commissioner's office, assist them in filing charges and being with them throughout the criminal process. So this is one of the things that I think we can work with Turnaround on to see if we can assist some of your people who want to go forward on criminal charges and those kind of things. So we're really happy to be here. It's great to meet all of you. And like I said, we've been calling and referring people to you forever. So it's really good to know that we will be starting a better and more secure relationship. So thank you very much for having us. And it was a pleasure to meet all of you.
Thank you. So I do also want to make sure that we hear from another one of our legislative representatives. So Delegate Dr. Alici is joining us. Thank you so much to talk a little bit about his work for District 10.
Hi everyone. Like she introduced me, and I'm Delegate Dr. Alici. I'm a medical doctor by training. I've been representing this area, District 10, in the Legislative Assembly since 2015 was my first year. And while during this process, the last 7-8 years, I've worked on the Judiciary Committee and more recently with housing issues on Environment and Transportation and Housing Committee. Of course, while we live in Baltimore County or Maryland, we see a lot of issues, a lot of cases of human trafficking. We see sexual violence, sexual domestic abuse, intimate partner abuse. And in the Assembly, we've passed a lot of bills. But I think the work which Turnaround is doing is fundamental in making sure that the help is available on the grassroots level. And nonprofits like Turnaround provide this gap which may be between what the government provides and what the people need. And that is why I'm here today, to provide my support, to show my support for Turnaround, and like I would for any other nonprofit that works in this space. So thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for the good work you did. Somebody just told me you've been doing it for almost 30 years, and I hope you continue for another 300, because hopefully your work ends, and when the need ends, when there is no sexual violence or human trafficking. But while you're doing it, thank you very much for your hard work. I appreciate you inviting me.
And last but not least, we are going to hear from TurnAround's Executive Director, Amanda Rodriguez.
Thank you, Jean. And Dr. Jean, you guys have been 43 years that we've been around. Okay, 43. Okay.
I told him not to quote you.
All right, well, that's all right. So I just want to thank everyone for being here for the kickoff of the second week of our 7 weeks of giving, Legal Week. Thank you to our partners, Maryland Legal Aid, the Human Trafficking Prevention Project, the Maryland Crime Victim Rights Project, or Center, so you get that right. To the councilman who had to leave, Delegate Alici and Mr. Schellenberger, thank you both for being here. And I also wanted to thank our sponsor. Merit is actually our sponsor for the entire 7 weeks of giving. So thank you, huge thank you to them for their very generous donation and letting us use their space here in Owings Mills for this event today. As an attorney, I am acutely aware of the impact of the legal system on survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking. Serving clients through the legal system means that you provide guidance and reassurance and support for some of our most vulnerable community members in their lowest moments. You are able to provide this stability that comes after a successful end to a case, compared to the fear and uncertainty after a negative experience with the legal system. Unfortunately, that negative experience happens all too often, where survivors are gaslit and left to struggle alone. A few years back, I represented clients at TurnAround before I took on the role of executive director, and I will never forget walking into the office of my assistant at the time and seeing a woman sitting there. She was a recovering addict. She had a mental health disorder. She was thin and soiled and hopeless. I remember wondering if there was anything that we could do in her case, which involved the abuse of herself and her children. I worked with her for months, trying to create some semblance of justice from a very unjust situation. There were so many tears, sometimes mine, and frustrating moments, but at the end of the day, going it alone was never an option for her. So often we hear, if you didn't come, if TurnAround had not been there, I wouldn't have filed. I wouldn't have had the strength to go forward. In this case, I was sure that if TurnAround had not been there, her story would have been much more tragic, because for the first time in her life, she was heard and seen. I have a picture that one of her children drew during that ordeal, actually still on my wall at TurnAround in my office. Whenever I need to remember why I'm here at TurnAround, why I continue to fight for justice, the difference that I make as an advocate for survivors, I look at that picture of a little girl with a heart and a butterfly and a rainbow. There is hope in that picture. Hope that may not have existed if TurnAround wasn't there. Legal services are a part of the healing process. A survivor's story continues long after a case is concluded, but so often their experience in court makes fundamental difference in how they heal. And we are proud as TurnAround to stand with them on this journey. I would ask for all of our attorney friends that are watching to join us on October 20th for a training on how to support a survivor through a protective order and learn how you can partner with us to serve survivors through the legal system. We need legal partners to work with us to make Metro Baltimore safer. You may feel that you are only one person and that you really can't make that big of an impact. But the reality is that one lawyer, even if it's only taking one case of a survivor, that's one survivor who doesn't have to worry about whether they filed the paperwork correctly, whether their voice would be heard. That's one survivor that's not alone. If you're willing to become a part of the TurnAround team, we're only asking that you make one call send one text, repost one of our social media posts, or in the case of attorneys, represent one client. Visit our website to learn how to become a virtual ambassador, or reach out to us if you're interested in joining our pro bono network of attorneys to make sure that no survivor is ever alone. When we fight together against abuse and injustice, we are stronger. Will you be that one? Thank you so much for being here today and for supporting us, and let's continue the fight together.